In the mud-soaked trenches of the First World War, survival wasn't a matter of comfort or luxury, it was raw instinct and invention forged in filth, rain, and the constant echo of artillery. Long before titanium flashlights and GPS watches, soldiers carried with them something far simpler and far smarter. Small metal tins, no bigger than a man's palm, packed with tools and tricks that could mean the difference between coming home or being buried under a nameless field. These weren't gadgets for show, they were the purest expression of human ingenuity in its most desperate hour. The average soldier's kit didn't look like much: a small tin, a pocket knife, a few needles, a strip of wire, waxed matches, maybe a candle stub, but each piece was chosen with a purpose. The tin itself could boil water, sterilize a blade, cook a ration of tinned meat, or reflect a signal toward friendly lines. Matches, dipped in wax to keep out the damp, could still spark after days of rain. Needles weren't just for stitching uniforms, they were for suturing wounds, repairing torn webbing, even clearing jammed rifles. In a world where every ounce carried mattered, soldiers learned that the best gear wasn't the most advanced, it was the most adaptable. That mindset, the ability to turn the simplest object into a lifeline, was what truly defined those early survival kits. Nothing was wasted, and nothing was designed for single use. A length of string could tie snare measure, or reinforce. A bit of cloth could filter water, wrap a wound, or signal surrender. Everything a soldier carried had to earn its place because, when you lived in the trenches, every extra ounce could be the ounce that slowed you down at the wrong moment. Modern everyday carry culture obsesses over gear. Flashlights with 10 modes, knives with designer steel multi-tools that unfold like mechanical puzzles. But the men of 1915 understood something deeper. Real survival didn't depend on owning the most tools. It depended on knowing how to use the least. That's why their kits, crude by today's standards, often outperformed our high-tech gear in the only test that matters: reliability under pressure. Take the trench lighter for example. Born from necessity, it was often handmade from spent bullet casings or brass scraps. Unlike modern disposable lighters that fail in rain or wind, these could be refueled, repaired, and reignited endlessly. A soldier's lighter wasn't just for cigarettes, it was fire, light, warmth, and comfort in the blackest hours. Even today, collectors and bushcraft enthusiasts rebuild those designs because they still work. When everything around you is mud, smoke, and fear, simplicity becomes sacred. The same philosophy shaped the tools themselves. Folding knives from that era weren't sleek showpieces. They were ugly, sturdy, and dependable. One blade, one screwdriver, one awl, enough to repair gear, build shelter, or open rations. Every item had a function that went beyond convenience. If it broke, it could be fixed. If it failed, it could be replaced in the field. That kind of resilience is almost extinct in our disposable, battery-powered world. But perhaps the most valuable part of those kits wasn't the gear, it was the mindset that came with it. Soldiers didn't wait for rescue, they were the rescue. Every man had to think like a mechanic, a medic, a scout, and a survivor. That thinking shaped modern survivalism itself. The principle of redundancy, having one tool that can do 5 jobs, came straight out of those trenches. The idea of waterproofing, repurposing, and improvising wasn't a hobby, it was life. What's remarkable is how these lessons still apply a century later. In an age where technology promises to solve every problem, the truth is that nature still wins when batteries die. The old soldiers knew this. They built fires with wet wood, signaled with mirrors, and mended their boots with thread pulled from uniforms. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They made do with what they had, and that's why they survived. When you look closely at those relics, the scorched tins, the scratched blades, the burned matchboxes, you're not just seeing artifacts, you're seeing the blueprint of modern preparedness. Even in today's world of compact solar panels and smart tools, the same rules apply. Practicality beats novelty, simplicity is power, and versatility is survival. These truths haven't aged. They've just been forgotten beneath layers of marketing and modern convenience. The men who lived through the trenches didn't have luxury gear or infinite resources. What they had was resourcefulness, the courage to rely on their own knowledge when everything else failed, and that's the part that still matters. You can carry the most expensive kit in the world, but if you don't understand it, if you can't fix it, it's just dead weight. The soldiers of 1915 could take a bent tin, a bit of wire, and a candle stub and make light, warmth, and hope out of it. That's survival stripped down to its essence. No gadgets, no gimmicks, just grit and ingenuity. Today, when preppers and survivalists talk about EDC or minimal carry, they're echoing the same ideas those soldiers lived and died by. And yet, few realize it. Those old kits weren't designed for adventure. They were designed for endurance. Every scratch and dent told a story of adaptation. Every repair was a lesson in persistence. They remind us that survival has never been about equipment. It's about mindset, about making something from nothing. In the end, the World War I survival kit wasn't a collection of items. It was a philosophy, a reminder that knowledge and adaptability will always outlast technology. When the world collapses around you, it's not your tools that save you, it's your understanding of how to use them. The men who fought and survived with those humble tins understood that better than anyone. And maybe that's the greatest lesson they left behind. You don't need more things to survive, you just need smarter ones.